Welcome back to Pace Immigration, paceimmigration.com. Talking once again with immigration lawyer Michael O'Rourke. Michael, looking very bright and orange and colorful. Talk about what you're wearing right now and why.
Hi, Sean. Well, it's fall, so oranges for fall. Actually, today in Canada is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. It's our second year celebrating this holiday, or maybe celebrating is not the right word to use. It's recognizing. We're recognizing the Indigenous journey here in Canada and how people have had to experience residential schools and colonialization, and it's very important to take time to recognize this. At our firm today, we actually had a couple speakers come in and talk about some of their personal experiences. And it's always really moving.
Right.
And
show the logo on the shirt there, Michael. I think every child matters. Is that right?
So yeah, this is an Every Child Matters shirt, and
Excellent.
Me looking like a big orange sausage in this shirt. So, but yeah. It is. There are a number of different themes, but I like the message of the Every Child Matters.
Excellent. Okay, so we've covered that. Let's dive into what we're actually talking about today. We've got on the screen here sponsoring a same-sex partner for a U.S. green card. You get this question a lot, Michael. And in fact, maybe I'll just expose that you were married in the last year and a half. Talk about that journey.
Exactly. So, being the woke law firm that we're at, I was told that I must bring a picture of my partner, now husband, and must be in my office. So, thank you. But
your anniversary is coming up, right?
Yeah, our actual year anniversary of being married is coming up in 2 weeks, but we've been together for 11 years.
Congratulations. So you know about this issue firsthand that we're going to talk about, not only as a lawyer, but as someone who's gone through it. Exactly. We're going to dive into sponsoring a same-sex partner for a U.S. green card. Michael, take us through some of the rules, these first two right here.
Sure. So the U.S. does not recognize common law relationships. So one of the fundamental things that you have to have if you are planning on marrying a U.S. citizen and relocating to the U.S. And applying for a green card is that you have to be legally married. Domestic partnerships, civil unions, PACs, whatever the form of a registered partnership looks like in your home country will not cut it.
Okay, so you have to be married, and we have here that your marriage has to be legal in the jurisdiction where it took place. Talk about that.
Yeah, of course, every marriage to be considered for U.S. immigration purposes has to be legal and it has to conform to the requirements in the country where it is performed or in the jurisdiction where it's performed. So, for instance, if I go to Nevada, where same-sex marriage is legal, or if I go to Mexico City, or if I go to Buenos Aires, or to Chile, I can get married in any of those jurisdictions as long as I meet the requirements. But say, for instance, my husband and I went to Russia to get married. If we didn't get shot trying to do so, that marriage would not be legal because it's not recognized by the legislature and the government as being legal in that jurisdiction.
Okay, so it's got to be legal there, and that way the U.S. will recognize it here. We have here that if you cannot marry in your home country, say, for instance, Russia or something where it's not recognized or it's not legal, you can get married in the U.S., but you have to go through a process.
Yes, exactly. So there is a way to get married in the U.S. and to bring your fiance over. So it's called a K visa or fiance visa. I think 90-day fiance, even though I never would admit to watching it, maybe touched on this. So you can file a petition, and once it is approved, and these do take a while to get approved, your loved one can come over into the U.S. for 90 days for the purpose of getting married. They are then supposed to go back to their home country, wait while the I-130 or the main marriage petition is processed, and then apply for an immigrant visa from that point.
How much time are we talking about total if someone were to go down that road? So they come over for the 90 days, they get hitched, then they've got to go home. In your experience, how long has it been until they can actually immigrate to the United States as a permanent resident?
Current times, it's taking, I would say, maybe a year to get an I-129 approved, and then they come over, get the marriage done. The couple then files the I-130 petition, which is the first step in the green card petition. That can take 6 to 8 months to be approved. And then the immigrant visa process, depending on where they are in the world, that can take another 2 years. So it's actually a long-term commitment to just try to get this green card for your loved one.
Right. But that involves also them coming over to get married in the United States. You've got here on your next slide that people can also get married in any jurisdiction which permits same-sex marriage. So, for instance, Canada, say.
Yes, if they can both come to Canada, one might need a visa. The U.S. citizen wouldn't need one, but as long as they meet the requirements to get married in the jurisdiction, and some jurisdictions have residency requirements, some have blood test requirements, others you just hire the local preacher and sign the marriage license. So it really depends, and that's where you need to do your research. If you are going to do a marriage outside of the United States, then you have to look to make sure that that marriage is actually legal.
Okay. What do they want to see anyway, the U.S. authorities? A marriage license is going to cut it, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, so a marriage license is the legal proof that the marriage occurred. But when we make these applications, we have to show the length and depth of the relationship. They're called the bona fides. And the bona fides show that this is not something that's been entered into for immigration purposes, that there's a real loving relationship. So, like I tell my clients, take photos of everything. We want to see you. We want to see you with your family and your friends. We want to see what your daily life looks like, because when I put this together, I want to tell the story of the couple. We also want to see some evidence of jointness. So, do you have a joint Netflix account that you share, or are you on a bank account together, or are you beneficiaries under each other's insurance policies? So we want to see that stick-to-itiveness, just to make sure that this is a real relationship that can pass the muster of scrutiny at USCIS.
It's probably easier than it was 20 years ago. People take pictures of everything now.
Yeah, exactly.
Or here's my Instagram account, officer. Oh, yes, actually, that looks like a real marriage. Yeah. Okay.
Just as an aside, one of the marriage cases that I did years ago, it actually ended up being a Violence Against Women Act case because the couple broke up and there was domestic violence. But USCIS didn't believe that the marriage was real to begin with. And one of the only ways that I could prove that it was real was to share the very racy chats of the couple back and forth.
So those steamy texts could come in handy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it made the hair on my head stand up, but it worked.
How long ago was this, by the way, or is that I shouldn't go there?
Oh no, this was about
with the hair on your head. Yeah.
Oh well, the hair is gone for a long time, but it was 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And we were sitting down, and I was going through it with one of the couple, and said, "Well, how do you communicate?" I was, "Oh, we send things back and forth on Viber." It's like, "Can I see those?" And like, no. Which turned into a yes when it's like, well, that's how we can prove it.
We'll save those for a different LinkedIn article sometime. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a different platform too.
Right. Okay, so the marriage, the couple, we get all that, but there could be children involved. I go into some of the rules here.
Yeah. So if the foreign national has children under 18 who are not married, then they can immigrate at the same time as stepchildren. U.S. citizen does not need to adopt the children in order to effectuate their obtaining a green card.
Okay, and that seems pretty straightforward, actually.
Yeah, and it's honestly more liberal than you would imagine, because uh, I do know that in some jurisdictions there actually has to be a formal adoption of the children so that they can obtain immigration benefits, but not in the U.S.
Okay. So taking a step back, just to go over what we've discussed, same-sex marriage, getting a green, it sounds very similar to just a straight couple that
Yeah,
gets married and wants to bring someone to the United States. You're ballparking it anywhere from 1 to 3 years.
yeah, that's generally the case. So if the foreign national is already in the United States, we can do something called a one-step, where we file both halves of the green card process together. So first part is the I-130 petition, which asks USCIS for the permission and it proves the existence of a bona fide relationship. The other part is adjustment of status, which changes magically the foreign national status from a worker or visitor or whatever he or she may be under to that of a green card holder. If you
Okay.
have to go to the U.S. consulate and you have to do a consular processing immigrant visa, it can take a little bit longer just because U.S. consulates around the world have been backed up. But
Okay.
yeah, generally looking at about best case scenario 2 to 2.5 years, maybe slightly more, depending.
And you can speed that process up by contacting Michael today at mo'rourke@pacelawfirm.com. Michael, thanks for joining us. Happy anniversary in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Sean. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye bye.